Hi everyone, welcome to Hue at Home. I'm Tracy Koga. This is a very special edition. Not only are we on location again at Royal Manitoba Theatre Centre, you'll find out how many shows we've done at Hue at Home very shortly, but news is that they bring in the new year with Into the Woods, Stephen Sondheim's wonderful musical, full of great storytelling and music. So I sit down first with Kelly Thornton, she's the artistic director, and then later introduce you to the premiere and debut for Rhea Rodych Rasidsecu in her role of Cinderella. Now here's a little clip of Into the Woods.
Listen well, son. Milky White must be taken to market.
Mother, no! He's the best cow!
Was? She's been dry for a week, with no food nor money, and no choice but to sell her, while she can still command a price.
Milky White is my best friend in the whole world.
Look at her. There are bugs on her dugs. There are flies in her eyes. There's a lump on her rump, big enough to be a hump.
What?
Son, we've no time to sit and dither, while her withers wither with her. And no one keeps a cow for a friend. Sometimes I fear your touch.
Hello everyone, welcome to Hue at Home, and it is our 100th show. So, in honor of that, we're bringing you behind the scenes, which we will do and continue all this year, give you the nitty-gritty on everything that's happening here in Winnipeg. So we are in the rehearsal room for RMTC, Royal Manitoba Theatre Centre. They are hitting the stage with Into the Woods. It runs until February 4th, and I start with the Queen, Kelly Thornton, artistic director, but also director of this incredible production.
Yes.
You start off 2023 with a killer, so to speak, for the actors.
Oh, it's a giant show for the actors, for the the design of this show. The craftspeople downstairs are miracle workers making beautiful art.
Okay, quick. Yeah. So
here's the hen. This is one of Jack's. Jack takes this from the giant, and this is a hen that lays golden eggs.
Oh my goodness. And this.
That's Jack. That is Jack's Milky White. So Jack is tasked with taking Milky to the market to sell because she's no longer producing milk.
Viable.
Yeah. Of course, this is the Cape.
Little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah.
Okay, so all those names you probably they're talking fairy tales. So I guess a brief synopsis of this production, because folks, if you read the long version, you'll get very confused.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Sondheim, I'll give you the background. Sondheim, really, his partner James Lapine, they were collaborating and really looking to tell a quest story. Sondheim was really intrigued with Wizard of Oz and wanted to tell a quest through a musical. So he and James really investigated fairy tales, and Lapine said, in fact, fairy tales are short for a reason. They're like short little bite-sized morality tales. And so why don't we do a mashup of fairy tales, and at the center of it, create our own fairy tale, which is the baker and the baker's wife, who are childless. And the witch next door visits them and says, if you wish to reverse this curse, which she put on them, you need to go into the woods and get me a cow as white as milk, a cape as red as blood, a slipper as pure as gold, and hair as yellow as corn. So that's what they set off to do. And in the woods, they find Jack, who has his cow with him, and Rapunzel's in the tower. There's the hair yellow as corn. Little Red is on her way to Granny's, and Cinderella is off to the ball. So and they all have things that this couple are looking for to break the curse. So that's kind of the nugget of the beginning of it, and then they really this musical, which is a glorious musical, like it's the full meal. It's an incredible book, so it's very, very witty. It's endless laughter, and incredible music. Like my company of performers just sing it so beautifully. So So yeah, but really, it's a cautionary tale because they go into the woods pursuing their wishes at all costs. And so sometimes, ultimately, we realize that these are selfish pursuits. And then in the second act, just when you think everything's like happily ever after, you realize that their pursuits, their selfish pursuits, have disrupted the natural order, and a giant comes to wreak havoc on them. And so they,
giant.
yeah. So really, it's about collective responsibility. It's about selfish pursuits versus collective responsibility. And when they finally come together and stop just thinking about themselves, they heal the world. Really, they solve their problems. So it's a great musical that has a lot of, it's potent storytelling that really resonates with the world that we live in.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And so now that you know the story, folks, you really have to come, though, to see the collective of actors and everybody in the production, Kelly, that you have brought together. Mm-hmm. Of course, you need a narrator. I've just recognized some of the names.
Yeah.
And, there's Marion Bernstein, and then I'm going to meet the lovely Cinderella, who's local.
Yeah, right.
And, there's a cast of such incredible actors. For yourself now, you've been here a few years, you know sort of the community here. What did you need from these people to make this production?
Yeah, I really feel, and somebody said it yesterday backstage, one of the actors said, you really know how to create a team. Like, it's a bit of a dream team. They are such a unique group of actors, and that's what I love. They're all super individual, and all really interesting, and bring huge talent to the process, but also just beautiful personalities, like big hearts. I think the common theme of what I was looking for in my casting was big-hearted people, because the story has huge heart. And so, and also funny. Like, I was like, if you can make me laugh in auditions, then I know that you can do the job. Because it's very, very witty, and so you have to have a sense of humor to deliver it.
And this hasn't been easy at all, folks. You went into production in December. You just mentioned you had, 1 day, 2 days off maybe, and you have to be in a bubble because although everything is open. And we're not saying the COVID word, but
you just said it.
I know. But again, working in that kind of environment is really still tasking.
Yeah, especially for musicals. Like we have this is our first big musical since the pandemic hit, and this is my first musical at MTC. So I'm very, very excited to finally be here. But yeah, it's been challenging because they've been singing in masks, and that's just tough. But now we're on stage, so we're in the bigger space, and we're starting to actually, take the masks off and see our full faces, and that's great because it's a crazy thing when you take off a mask and you realize, oh my God, you've been smiling for the last month under that mask in this scene, and I never saw it.
Yeah. Well, and for you as a director, saying why,
Yeah.
But I guess you must. And they all must feel a sense of relief when they take that mask off. Like, I just can't imagine still and theater and all the arts, performing arts, really, really need that human connection.
Yeah, and it's a necessary thing in these times for us to be as safe as possible. We have understudies and standbys in case anything goes wrong, in case anybody gets sick. We have a whole team of understudies, and that's great because some of them are tracking for different characters, and they're ready to go on in any of those roles at any given time. So the masks are a necessary evil in terms of the times we're living in, to keep us safe and to for the show to go on. That's
the show must go on.
The show must go on.
So I'm going to play on what you just mentioned. There are understudies, and you just mentioned having 4 or 5 different roles. So these are all different characters, completely different characters that these actors have to learn. I want to ask more about this mentorship program because you see with a lot of the actors in this production, RMTC mentorship program.
Yeah.
What is this?
So when when I first arrived here, so I arrived here in 2019, that was the June 2019 was the beginning of my tenure here. And I remember meeting a couple of young actors and saying, you can visit Toronto, you can do shows in Toronto, but like, please stay in Winnipeg because we want to keep the talent here so that we can use them. This cast is about 85 to 90% local. And so I know the geographical isolation it's for young performers, I think they can feel isolated, and they can feel like, the big marketplace for theater is in Ontario or Vancouver. And so I was like, I want to connect you so that you can have a national relationship with artists, but also bring the wealth of knowledge that you get through the mentorship to Winnipeg, to stay in Winnipeg. And yeah, it was really important for me, for the emerging actors, but also for the mentors to know the talent pool here, because they are incredibly talented. Rhea is, this is her first professional production, and she's beautiful and brilliant in this role of Cinderella. And she should be known everywhere, but she should live in Winnipeg because I want to use her over the many years that I hope to be here. I would love to use her again and again because I think she's really talented. But that's the case with so many. There's a lot of young actors in the show, and Winnipeg is a real hotbed of talent. And I love the fact that through the National Mentorship Program we can expose them nationally. But again, keep feeding the talent pool here to keep them here.
Well, that's amazing. Did you have trouble finding mentors across the country to be part of this?
I think artists really love to be asked to mentor if they have the time. Some are often too busy to take it on that year, but I really do think imparting the wisdom of 30 to 40 years of professional work, it's a wonderful thing to pass on and to talk to young people about their careers.
And so for more information, if there are actors out there that can they find information on the website?
Yeah, the National Mentorship Program, it's under the Artist tab.
Okay. RoyalMTC.ca. Are you a mentor?
Am I a mentor? I feel like I'm mentoring people all the time.
Yes.
I'm the artistic director. I have no time. But I have mentored a lot in my life. Yes. I actually won an award for mentoring young women specifically. So the YWA Women of Distinction Award.
Wow.
Specifically because I was very involved mentoring young women. So.
And we need more females in the theater and in positions like yourself.
I'm the first female artistic director at MTC in MTC's history. So it's and that's 60 plus years of history. So it's great. It's great to have women in leadership because I think it just you pass that down. You become a role model to the next generation.
Well, we are so happy and honored, Kelly. You ring in 2023 with a bang, Into the Woods on until February 4th. And thank you so much for being a leader, for being a mentor, and for being part of our community.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
Girl, you know what's up. Ooh, say what, say what, say what. Girl, you know what's up. Ooh, say what, say what, say what. So tell me what's up. I'm feeling you. I'm feeling you. Girl, you know what's up. Say I'm digging you. And I'm holding you. So tell me what's up. Tell me what's up. Girl, you know what's up.
Now, the prince, what was he like?
He's a very nice prince. And it's a very nice ball. And when I enter, they trumpet.
And? The prince.
Oh, the prince.
Yes, the prince.
Well, he's tall.
Is that all? Did you dance? Is he charming? They say that he's charming.
We did nothing but dance.
Yes.
And it made a nice change.
No, the prince.
Oh, the prince.
Yes, prince.
Welcome back to Hue at Home. We are in the rehearsal room at the Royal Manitoba Theatre Centre, and for 2023, I have probably the year's hardest name to say, but as a challenge, I would like to introduce our lovely guest, Rhea Rodych Rasidsecu, and she plays Cinderella in Into the Woods. I was sweating during that, and now I'm done.
You did very well, so
Thank
good
you.
job.
So welcome, Rhea. Welcome to the brand new year.
Yes.
And the new production for 2023, Into the Woods, Cinderella. I will admit, I've never seen it, so I thought I'd do my homework and try to read the synopsis. Oh my Lord. I think I got confused halfway between the first act. But Cinderella is an integral part to this whole story. So
Yes.
first, let's talk about your character.
Yeah, so Cinderella is a folk tale, a fairy tale that we all know very well. And yeah, she opens the show after the narrator sort of speaks the first introduction to the story and welcomes the audience in. She opens the show and she closes the show with the words "I wish," which is very integral to sort of the entire plot and theme that Sondheim wrote in this musical. So yeah, it's a big role. She is very quirky. She, I think, for me, whenever I saw the show and have sung through it, it feels like Little Red and her kind of build together the heart of it. And so it's a really fun role to play and get to interact with all the other characters.
So we know, like kids, it's not your real, true fairy tale characters in this production. So the relationships that are built between the characters are really interesting because we know them as fairy tale characters, but then we get to know them almost like they're human beings.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, they're
they have
totally
feelings.
three-dimensional. Yeah,
Yes.
like they were written very, very well, and it was interesting because I was looking and sort of researching how Sondheim and James Lapine sort of wrote the story, and they found it really difficult to come up with one fairy tale to sort of fledge into a full musical, so they put together all of these different ones, then created a totally new folktale fairy tale of the baker and his wife to sort of just bring it all together, which is genius and so hard. So yeah, it's totally understandable that people would get confused with the plot and following all the different stories. But interacting with all the characters is interesting because they all have different wants and desires that guide them in different ways to do different things. But they all kind of, I think, fall into some sort of deceit or straying from the path, which is really interesting for different reasons and motivated by different things. But yeah.
And that's why it is still so relevant today in 2023 when it was written
Absolutely.
way back in the mid-'80s. For yourself, in the character of Cinderella, what have you gained and learned, not only, I guess, as an actress, but as a person? Because I would think that every role that you play, it stays in some way, shape, or form inside you.
Yeah, well, we were actually talking about this with Kelly, our director, a few days ago, working on one of the sort of poignant songs in the show, No One Is Alone, and sort of really how it connects to a part of all of us as people, not just as performers. And so yeah, I think I relate to Cinderella in many ways, and I think a lot of female conditioned people will. But I think the big thing is just like leading from a place of love and kindness, and not taking that too far either. You know, you have to always make sure that you are caring for yourself as well as others at the same time, and that's something that I think Cinderella struggles with, because she sort of plays into what other people want for her more than what she wants for herself, and that's sort of what takes her down a path that she doesn't want.
Oh my goodness, it sounds like today's story of young girls on social media.
Yeah, it's very relevant, so yeah.
Okay, so talking about dreams and being in this first show here on stage, tell us a little bit more about your education as an actress, and especially your local talent. So we have to cheer about this.
Yes, yeah, it's really exciting. So this is my first professional production, which is a big thing for me, and I've been coming to MTC and seeing the shows here for many, many years. And yeah, I grew up in Winnipeg, went to school at the University of Winnipeg for theatre, went through the honors program there, got my degree in acting, and took voice lessons alongside of that. Originally was going to go into music and then veered into theatre, which just sort of brought me to this place, which is really interesting how the universe works out. And and through my time at university, I found out about a scholarship program here called the Jean Murray Morey Sinclair Scholarship, which was integral in sort of allowing me to complete my education and also to offer me opportunities to take workshops outside of the university setting, which helped me learn new skills that I weren't necessarily super accessible through the program, but with that extra support from the scholarship, I was able to go and outsource different skills that I wanted to add to my toolkit. And
Speaking of toolkit, dialect coach.
Yes.
Now, would anybody think that's important unless you're, playing a Russian spy or?
No, yeah, it is a thing. I learned about it when I was in university through my professor Shannon Vickers, my voice prof there, and she's sort of a big text coach and dialect coach here in the city. And I think because I have a lot of classical music training and had learned languages for that, I was really interested in dialects and took a natural knack to them, I guess. And so she took me under her wing and has mentored me and helped me sort of learn the skills I need to coach that and to be able to communicate how to learn a dialect to other actors, which is really great. And I just finished working on Frozen River at M2IP there as a dialect coach for that show. So.
And that must be so fascinating because, again, it would offer you another insight into your own performances too as well. But there's just so much out there. For you, I guess, what are some of the more important people along the way when you kind of reflect back to where you are right now, ready to step on stage?
Well, I think my family, obviously, my mom put me in my first theater production and I did not want to do it. And I remember telling her very clearly that I would never make this my career. And she's laughing at me now, of course. I think all of the coaches that I've had and teachers I've had along the way have sort of, created a sense of confidence that I didn't have in myself for a very long time. And so I think all the professors at the University of Winnipeg were so integral just because I saw myself as a singer and they sort of were like, no, you can be an actor too, and brought me into a new line of thinking about my work and my capabilities. Everyone, there's too many to name, but my family is definitely, top of the list for sure.
And then to wrap things up, you have been accepted into the mentorship program. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes.
So not much, it hasn't started yet. Who is your mentor, or can we let that cat out of the bag?
As I look off, yes, okay. I just have to check. So my mentor is Fiona Sauter, and they are the artistic director of Bad Hats Theatre in Toronto. And so I got to know them and know their work through a production of Alice in Wonderland that they did at M2IP just last year. And it was so it was explosive in the best way, and just really engaging and thrilling. And so I was like, what is this work? Who are these people making this show that's so different from anything that I'd seen for theater for young people in a really long time? And so I was just really excited by that. And I mean, MTC does a really great job with this mentorship of really connecting people with, connecting emerging artists with more established artists who they might not have access to or might not be able to make those connections because of distance or, various different things. And so I was really thrilled by this mentorship and the fact that I could, get to work with someone who isn't based in Winnipeg and whose work really excites me. And So we haven't started yet. We're just we've communicated a bit, but the program will officially be starting, I believe, the 16th or 17th. We'll have our
so
first
very
sort of
shortly.
meeting.
Well, that's so wonderful that you do have the opportunity to spread your wings, so to speak.
Yeah.
But Winnipeg will always be your home,
Yeah.
even when you hit Broadway in that big musical.
Yes.
Well, we can hardly wait to see you step on stage as Cinderella. Do you get to wear the ball gown?
Yes, I do.
I haven't seen this, so.
Oh, I haven't seen the full version of it yet either. I've seen the the top, but it's being made as we speak, so it's very
Oh my
exciting.
goodness.
Yes.
Nothing to the last minute.
I know, can I take it with me?
And you can't forget the shoes.
Oh, no, not the shoes, of course.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Cinderella, but not as you know it, folks. Big congratulations to Rhea. Thank you so much for spending this time with us on Here at Home.
Thank you so much.
We want to give a very special thank you to all of our guests on today's show, and also thank the Royal Manitoba Theatre Centre staff for allowing us to be on location. So go ahead and make today the greatest day, and we'll see you next time on Here at Home.